What are your thoughts so far on hearing not only the pain, but the anger and disgust, specifically from the Gonzalez family?
It's an extraordinary thing that we do in society. We peacefully try to resolve pain. So what you see on display right now is the court's best attempt to not be vigilantes, to bring out the best in people, and that's what they're trying to do in a sort of imperfect way. It's this murderer's day of reckoning, for sure, but as you're seeing, this is really a day of remembrance. So you have that sort of duality to what's going on. Literally, there was a split screen, right? I mean, that's what pain sounds like. So the victims who are broken, talking about their expression of that and their hatred, but not at the same time wanting to be consumed by that hatred. Then you have the split screen of no emotion.
Yeah. I think a lot of people were watching Ryan Kohberger as you were listening to the roommates and the family members talk about the trauma that they've experienced after these murders. And as far as we could tell, zero expression. Even when Kaylee's dad turned the podium to speak directly at him, he was the first one to really address Brian directly. Zero emotion. What do you make of that? He is looking directly at all of them as they're speaking.
Sure, and that's frankly part of punishment, to be publicly exposed for your deeds like this. So on one level, it does not offend me. Doesn't surprise me either, because I think it's probably likely that this person has a mental disorder. And you heard a reference to one of the families saying it's a sociopath or something. Yeah. Well, key part of that diagnosis, if that's the case, is a complete lack of empathy. So you saw these poor people who are broken, clearly still have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And it shows what the system, what trials, again, try to do. But everyone involved, including the judge, including the staff, including the bailiffs, everyone has, to a certain degree with this case, these types of cases, vicarious trauma.
One of the things that drew applause was when Kaylee's sister Olivia specifically asked a whole list of questions that she's been wondering, not only her, but lots of others and family members wondering, why? What were you thinking? How, why were they targeted? There are just so many unanswered questions, and he was nodding, clearly listening. Do you think we're going to learn the answers to these questions?
I highly doubt it, but again, a person with a mental disorder is not that predictable, so we'll see. But my guess is the defense wants to be clinical and get out of there as soon as possible. Now, the purpose of allocution, which he has an absolute right to do, he has he has the right to not say anything. But the purpose is to express remorse, to ask for leniency, and to provide answers. He doesn't seem inclined to do any of that.
In your experience, if a defendant were to speak, to ask for remorse and leniency, how often does that have an impact on the final sentence?
It depends on the case, obviously. Case like this, the acts speak far louder than the words. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But the judge would try to detect whether there's sincerity. And he's on notice that the family wants to know why. He has the opportunity to provide that. Even though it's, on the big scheme of things, hardly anything. You heard, as you say, a person basically requesting, please tell me why. Give me answers, and with those answers, can get on a better road to healing. So he knows, and he has now the power to do just that. But does this seem like the person who wants to be merciful?
He's facing 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Is there any chance, although the judge can issue a different sentence, is there any chance that he would issue any lesser sentence than that?
You're right. Part of the plea agreement was that the court has the discretion to go below the maximum sentence. So the court does have that authority. However, part of this plea agreement, this plea deal, was that both sides will jointly recommend the maximum sentence. With that, it's highly unlikely the judge would depart below that.
All right, Judge Bradshaw, we'll get back to you in just a second.